What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Geeks and Company and another episode of the After Show. That's right. This is the After Show for Secret Invasion, Season 1, Episode 3.
You're giving it all away. It's supposed to be a secret.
I feel like the only damn show on TV that can't make their damn minds about the name of one of the freaking characters.
Unreal.
We were
still doing it.
Just talking about it. They're still doing it. 1 second they're calling him Talos. The next second they're calling him Talos. I caught it in the first episode, but I really only caught it once. Now that we talked about it last week, they did it like 14 times this episode, and it's so distracting.
To be fair, one of my favorite parts of this episode is we get a bunch of Ben Mendelsohn's Talos and Nick Fury.
We do.
And those two are just chewing scenery the whole time. And it really made this the first, for me, standout episode. Kind of like what we were talking about. We were talking about Andor, and you had Stellan Skarsgård and Forrest Whitaker. Even though they were only on screen for 5 minutes, they were the best 5 minutes of that entire show's run. This episode felt like that. Watching these two veteran actors, these amazing actors, just playing off each other the whole time. So we had an opportunity to hear his name a lot more, and fuck me. Yeah. Why is it different for everybody?
I don't know, man. It's so distracting.
Yeah, it sure
Every time they talk about him, they use a different name, and it's
bizarre.
It is bizarre.
I don't get it.
I don't know. Whatever it is, whatever the reason behind it, I don't know, but it is distracting.
True.
But I do love Ben Mendelsohn.
Brilliant.
This was his episode. As much as I like him as a bad guy, he plays a really good guy.
He's just great. Like he's just great across the board.
Badass good guy. Yes. Like he should be in more badass spy-ish type roles because he's really good.
There's nothing he's done that I haven't seen him in and went, that's the guy. That guy gets it.
He's the breakout star of this show.
I think so too. I know it's supposed to be about Sam Jackson, but we already know Sam Jackson's Fury character. A lot of us, especially you and I, don't have a ton of experience or exposure to Ben Mendelsohn's character in the MCU. And yeah, he's just crushing it. But
he was literally only in one movie and then one post-credit scene.
And that's it.
That's right. That's all we knew of him. So,
and even in the post-credit scene, he's in Skrull form. Like he's not in his human form, right?
Yeah. Well, he's Fury 1 second.
That's what I'm saying.
And then the next second, he's in
Talos the Skrull, whatever. Yeah. Right. I do want to mention though, we do find out something that we were curious about last episode. Right at the top of this episode, they have another flashback.
Yeah.
And we get to see how Fury meets his wife. Yeah. And he's well aware that she's a Skrull.
Clearly knows that she's a Skrull.
That's interesting. I find that a very interesting dynamic. Like, where do you think the motivation is there for him marrying a Skrull and that whole thing? Do you think he just fell in love with this girl for some weird reason? Like, how would he even...
I think so, because and I didn't realize that this was her, but in last week's flashback, the 97 flashback,
right?
When he walks into the room where all the Skrulls are and where young Gravik is, the girl that's there with Gravik is her. The girl that he grabs and he puts his forehead to.
Right. Okay.
That is her.
That's her. Okay.
Right. So, yes, they've known each other since the beginning, and it sounds like he probably just fell in love with her. And why she decides to take on the face of a black woman when it's just them two, versus like in the flashback where she's in Skrull form and he's clearly Fury. I don't know what the dynamic is there.
Yeah, in the diner, he asks her where she got the new face.
Right.
So clearly, yes, that's something that she adopted. Maybe she thought it would be something that was pleasing to him. Maybe, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And again, the weirdness of it is her human face is aging with him. Like, is that something that she's subconsciously doing, making herself look
I would assume so.
How fucking weird is that?
You can shapeshift into whatever you want, right?
Yeah,
so
but
she's aging herself along with him, yes.
Bizarre.
100%. Because in the diner scene, she's much younger.
100%. Yeah,
they de-age her big time, like 30 years de-age.
Yes,
right?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. But she's not aging at the same rate he is. But so it doesn't look weird. She's aging herself up,
aging herself with them.
Oh, that's so bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't that the weirdest? I don't know. Anyways, So again,
it
we
brings up
know,
a whole lot of weird issues in my head.
right? Like past, I don't even think we should go down. Like it's so bizarro. Like,
yeah, I don't know.
yeah, I don't want to. Yeah,
Regardless, we do know now that yes, they have had a relationship for a long time. We do know that Fury knows she's a Skrull.
right.
We also find out at the end that she is in fact working with Gravik.
So, okay, she's clearly involved. Like all she says is, "I need to speak to Gravik." That's the entirety
True.
of what she says.
Yeah.
And then a voice on the other end of the phone, and I know this is at the end, guys, so we're going to get there already. There's a voice at the other end of the phone says, "Yeah, well, you're talking to me." And those with a keen ear will recognize that as Don Cheadle, as Rhodey.
Was it Rhodey?
It was
Interesting.
absolutely Rhodey. So that begs the question. Again, remember, we still think Rhodey's the red herring. Because if after last week's episode, when him and Nick get into it and he fires Nick, and now she has to speak with Gravik, he's like, "Well, you're speaking to me." Is this still like, it's either he is a Skrull and it's just like the lamest release, you know what I mean? Like we saw it coming from a million miles away, or this little subterfuge at the end where all she says was, "I need to speak with Gravik," and he says, "Well, you're talking to me." Is this all just a play on, like you said, misdirection? She's not actually in Gravik's camp, and neither is Rhodey. They're still plotting. You know what I mean? Because either it's blatantly obvious.
Very good. Yeah, you know what? That's a very good question because you're right. It could be a very misinterpreted conversation where she's telling Rhodey, "Look, I need to talk to him. We need to put a stop to all this." And maybe he's saying, "Well, no, you're talking to me, and I'm the one that's going to put a stop to it." Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like maybe there's and again, I said it 14 times in the last 2 episodes. This whole show is based around misdirection and subterfuge.
Well, it's supposed to be, right? I don't feel like
100%.
we've seen. I don't feel like we've seen a ton of that yet, because most of the subterfuge that we've seen is from our you know what I mean? Like it's not like we're not getting surprised at the end by the subterfuge. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a little shocking when Everett Ross, or like when Martin Freeman's
character. I don't think we are at the end yet. Is my problem?
But that's what I mean.
Right?
No, but that's what I'm saying. Nothing at this point has been really swerved on us yet.
Well,
right?
Nothing yet, but I feel like a lot of the things that we think are actual are not, and a lot of the things we think are mind games may actually be real. Like, you know what I mean? Like we don't.
I don't. Yeah, I know. I don't
part
know.
Of this show, right?
For sure.
Can we quickly talk about Emilia Clarke?
Yep.
So Maria Hilled her.
Well, a little different this time.
Well, a little bit different this time because we don't see her after she gets shot turn back into a Skrull.
Yeah, we do.
Do we?
We absolutely do. She's on the ground. She's got a bullet wound in her chest, and you hear it first as Gravik is looking down at her. You hear the shape-shifting sound, and then you cut to her, and she's on the ground, and she's a Skrull.
Yeah.
And she's got not a big hole in her chest, but she's got a bullet wound in her chest.
I also don't think that's real.
I will say this, and it was one of the few things that clearly, it was obvious what was happening from the jump.
Yeah.
Gravik questions her about who the traitor is. She blames somebody else. He then says, "You're coming with me tomorrow." He then has this conversation. Yeah, and he's only slipping it to her. Like the sniffing out of Gaia as the traitor was so painfully obvious. I'm like, are they really going through this?
Yeah.
Because I'm not even the kind of guy that figures shit out ahead of time. But even I was like, okay, clearly they're just setting her up to be the traitor. And they're letting her get away so they can catch her and be the traitor. So, yeah, but I don't know. Like he catches her, he shoots her, she reverts to a Skrull. She looks pretty fucking dead to me.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Do you think that Emilia Clarke, who portrayed one of the most popular characters on television, is going to sign up to a Marvel show to do 3 episodes?
If the paycheck is right, I don't know.
I mean, maybe she's dead. I still think that a lot of the stuff we're seeing is misdirection.
Well, I'll tell you what's interesting. So in the restaurant scene, you know what?
Talos.
I'm putting my foot down. I'm calling him Talos.
Yeah.
Moving forward. Fuck Talos. I don't know who that is. When Talos,
just to mess with you, I'll call him Talos.
I know you will. So when Gravik and Talos have their tete-a-tete at the table, and Talos stabs him in the hand, and he pulls his hand out and he holds it up and he heals. That could now. First of all, he did say earlier in the episode, Gravik did, that not only is there going to be a super Skrull, there are going to be super Skrulls. That they're all going to be super, which again is definitely way outside of canon. But whatever, I'll let it go. So,
which I mentioned last week, right? I said we're probably going to see super Skrulls.
You're right.
Right.
So she take some of the formula, and she is also now a super Skrull, and she's going to heal from that wound.
Perhaps.
Did she take the shot?
Because you can clearly see when he pulls his hand out, his hand starts glowing red and heals, which tells me that he now has the Extremist serum inside of him.
Right.
Or the power of the Extremist serum.
Right. Whichever it is. Yes.
Right. Which tells me that Super Skrull isn't coming. Super Skrull is here.
Yes. 100%. And it's him.
And it's him, which you were right about. I mean, clearly he's the Super Skrull. Whether they all become like him, I don't know.
But it would be the only thing I feel like would save her if she took the Extremis without him knowing and essentially like faked her death in front of him. Like he shoots her, she falls back, she reverts to her Skrull form, he gets in the car and leaves, and then suddenly we don't see it, obviously, and she heals. So that I could buy that, and that would justify your argument. Why would you have Emilia Clarke in here for 3 episodes and then get rid of her?
Yeah,
I agree with you. They should have her on for more episodes. Maybe that's how they do it. I don't know.
So the whole scene where, you know, he goes up to grab Gravik, and then they all everybody in the restaurant turns into Gravik.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Oh, okay." And then he sits back down, and they start talking, and he starts telling him that, you know, he thinks that his daughter is still working for him, and maybe he's gonna kill her. And in a second, boom, he stabs him in the hand, and he grabs him by the neck. And I was like, okay, this dude is a badass. Like, he might be getting old, but he's still a badass because he caught Gravik. He caught him by surprise.
He
had him by the neck.
He was the general before. Like, he was their leading warrior before. He just got tired of fighting in the war. So, yeah.
So that was a dope scene. It really showed us what he's capable of. And
Mendelsohn is brilliant. I mean, I don't think we can say enough about how good he is.
This episode
was a better episode.
Yeah, it
100%.
made me a little bit more interested, and probably mainly because of Ben Mendelsohn and how much he was involved and how good he freaking was in this show. I want to see more. I think now we need to move. Like, right? Like, we're halfway through now. Now things need to start moving fast.
And that's it. And it felt a little more like that here. It felt like, okay, the players are in place. The plot is actually starting to move forward now. So I'm okay with it now. Like, this is slowly becoming very similar to Obi-Wan, the Obi-Wan series, where you get your 2 episodes that are clearly meant to be the setup episodes. Now the next 2 or 3 episodes will sort of be like the second act, like moving the plot. And then we'll get a finale that will be like, well, I don't know. Apparently it'll be a lead into Armor Wars. It'll be a lead into something anyways.
Yeah, I'm curious how this is going to lead into Armor Wars, especially if Rhodey is a Skrull. All I know is this episode made me want to see more.
Well, we're going to do this again next week, man.
So we're going to do this again next week, folks. 100%. If you're enjoying Secret Invasion, let us know below what you think. Or even if you hate it, if you think it's the dumbest show on the planet, let us know below.
Actually,
I'm still hearing a lot of
let us know that.
From people that aren't just not watching because they either are not interested or they canceled their Disney Plus subscription, or a lot of people are just over it. Like, they're tired of the MCU. It's been too much. Now they want to break. I feel like a lot of people are skipping this because of that. Which, let's be honest, me and you both almost did.
100%.
Right?
Let's be fair. If this episode hadn't been this good,
I'd probably be out as well. Yeah, so. I didn't want to say it. You know, you've been saying it since the beginning.
100%,
I haven't wanted to say it, but
you best be catching me with something here, because if you don't, I am out. So, but no, they've Ben Mendelsohn me. So good for them.
Yeah,
well done.
No, excellent. Hey, everybody, make sure you click that like and subscribe button. Listen, the more you click the like button, the more it propagates these videos throughout the YouTube realm. And the subscription really helps us out. It lets us know that you like our content and that you want to see more. Make sure you also click the notification bell. It'll make sure you never miss anytime we upload one of these after shows, or even when we go live on our podcast, 7 p.m. Eastern time, Thursdays every week right here on the Geeks & Co. YouTube channel. So I think that's going to be it for this episode. Make sure you stay geeky, everybody. We'll see you next week for another after show.